Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Welcome to Ficus Friday on Saturday. I've always avoided structuring my channel so I have specific days to do specific things, but I really like Ficus Friday. It seems to come by so quickly every week. I'm starting Succulent Sundays starting tomorrow, so that will be really fun. Let's head into the Ficus greenhouse now and pick out a tree to work on today. And I'll give you some updates. So here's my Chinese village penjing. You can see the trees are growing in really ficus. My moss is doing quite well in spots. I did let it dry out one day here and it's gone a bit brown on top, but that'll recover. My Ficus microcarpa, my very first bonsai, it is ready for pruning, and I might be working on this one today. I think the new shoots are long enough that I can prune them back to the first or second set of leaves. My ficus cutting back here is also doing very well, growing very well. My Ficus religiosa, it's got all kinds of new buds ready to come out on it. It's gotten used to the full sun out here, so it's doing quite well also. My ficus, saberleaf ficus back here, it's got a nice crown on it. It's not real bushy, but it's going to need pruning soon to get a little more ramification. My ficus, my Frankenficus or Ficus benjamina, after the repotting, it's looking really good. I'm getting all kinds of new growth coming out on it. And this usually happens after repotting into this nice loose bonsai soil. I find the roots just take off and the tree grows with a ton of vigor after repotting. My tropical style ficus back here is doing well. So is my Ficus microcarpa from the workshop, which you can hardly see. My root over temple ficus back here, it's starting to grow after its last pruning, which is nice. My Ficus microcarpa, the one I call fancy, is starting to grow in after its last pruning. You can see all the new leaves coming, and the canopy is starting to green up a bit more. It's starting to look a little less sparse. So I think in another couple of weeks it's going to be quite green up top. My Sarissa here, I haven't pruned it since the Toronto show, and you can see how much it's grown in. It's really grown in. And a lot of these shoots are starting to get kind of long, and they're starting to droop over, blocking the light to some of the other branches. So that'll need pruning soon. My fiddle leaf fig back here, it's doing really well. My Natal ficus, the new one from the Toronto show, is doing quite well. My Ficus bengalensis is doing really well. It's reached the top of the greenhouse here, and the roots are really doing well underneath here, if you see them hanging down. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You can see them growing out of the pot in there too. I don't know if I can get the camera in there, right here. My other tree I had in the show, my Ficus ginseng ficus, it's long enough, it needs pruning too. So maybe this one and this one today. Just, trimming them back, all that new growth that's come in. My Schefflera after the repotting is also looking really good. It's doing well. My Ficus rumphii, it's growing like a weed. It's really taking off now, looking really healthy. It's kind of an unusual style at the moment, but I'm just letting it grow, gaining vigor, getting that root system developed. My Schefflera is doing well. My mistletoe ficus, I keep picking the fruit off of it because that takes all the vigor out of it. You can see there's more fruit developing here that I can pick off. Just little ones in here. If I don't pick the fruit off, all the energy of the tree goes into making fruit and it doesn't grow. So I have to pick the fruit off to get good growth on this tree. My other Ficus microcarpa here in the Vietnam style pot is doing well. It's growing quite tall, that needs pruning. And my Ficus natalensis here, the one in the Korean pot, it's really doing well. Lots of aerial roots, there's a whole bundle of them here. That could use repotting. That needs to go in a bigger pot, I think. And it needs pruning. My ficus plane down here, it's growing really well. It's getting quite a dense canopy on it, which is nice. It's very a shallow umbrella shape. So I was going to style this like the Avatar home tree. So that'll be pretty cool to work on. I could work on that today also. I have my medium-sized Ficus religiosa down here that's doing well. All my rubber tree forests, Ficus elastica, they're doing really well. All kinds of growth. They really like it under here. It's not too bright, not too shady, just right for them. You can see all the nice new growth coming on that. So that'll need pruning probably maybe in another couple of weeks. My cuttings over here, well, some of them are doing well, some didn't do too much. And I don't know why. They still look healthy. They haven't dried up, so maybe there's, still time for them to grow. But I've got at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At least 7 cuttings, maybe 8, that are taking off. So that's good. My Brazilian rain tree here, after the last pruning, it's growing in like crazy. No sign of life on the yuccas yet, but hopefully soon. And then I've got my my ficus that I repotted, my little leaf ficus or 2 little leaf ficus. It's also doing really well down here. And that, I can let that grow a little more, and then it'll need a prune also. So I think I'm going to start with my large Ficus microcarpa that I grew from a seed. My oldest bonsai, my very first tree. So I'll get that outside on the bench and we'll give it a prune. I've got the ficus out on the bench here. So this tree was defoliated. I structurally pruned the tree quite hard, and then the new shoots started coming in, and then I managed those new shoots coming in. So I picked off the buds that I didn't want, kept the ones that were growing in nice directions, and now those new shoots have kind of started to fill out. So now they're long enough that I can prune the tree back once again to get more ramification and a tighter structure. I'm going to start the pruning out back. You can see there's some new shoots that have grown in, and I don't want a clump style tree at the base. I just want the single trunk coming up. So these will all get pruned off. Alright, so here I go. I'll just look for the base of these shoots right back here and prune them off one at a time. One in here. It's a good sign. It means the tree's good and vigorous. This one's behind a root here. And one up here. Okay, so that's got that cleaned up. What I'm going to be doing today is looking at each shoot. I'll be following it back to the base where it attaches to the branch, and then looking at the leaf direction. So here I've got a leaf to the right, one to the left, and one facing downwards. So I'm going to prune it off to just ahead of the one that's facing downwards. So then I have the possibility of a branch going downwards, and one to the left and one to the right. So that'll go from 1 branch eventually into 3. Here's a look at one of the branches I'll be pruning, the new shoots. So on this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves on it. So that's plenty of leaves, so I can prune it back to either the first 2 or the first 3. In this case I'm going to prune back to the first 3, so I'm going to prune it right here. So I have the possibility of a branch coming here, one here, and one here. So that will really ramify this branch from 1 shoot into 3. I'll be doing an identical pruning to all the new shoots in the entire canopy. So here I go. So starting down here, I got 1, 2, 3. I've noticed as I'm pruning, I did the shoot selection, the new shoot selection on the tree, but now even more shoots have grown in as the trees gain vigor. So there's a lot of shoots. There's some growing in towards the center of the tree that I'll be pruning away. Some that are sticking straight up that I'll be pruning away also. So not only am I bringing the tree back, but I'm also, again, doing more shoot selection. I'm doing lots of directional pruning, trying to get my new shoots that'll be developing to grow in the right direction. I'm noticing just a little bit of scale insects on it. Every now and then I find a little blister, like there. So I'm going to remove them, and then I'll spray the tree. And as you do this pruning, it kind of opens it up so you can see the structure once again. Reveals it, which is kind of nice to see what's going on, rather than it just being a big mass of branches. And when I'm all done the pruning, I may still have to do some thinning. There's a lot of shoots have grown in very thick. Maybe some leaf reduction too, to kind of get some light into the interior. You see in this area it's very congested. Here's a new shoot that's growing straight up. I'll have to take that off. It looks a little awkward. There sure is a lot of new shoots that have come in. It's amazing. Especially up in the top of the canopy where it's really vigorous. I have got the new shoots pruned back. So you can see the tree is much more compact. And after this operation, all these branches are going to divide. So it'll get even denser when the new growth comes in. So now I was pruning this tree to try and get some branch structure, some layers. So I get some separation between the branches. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. I'm going to look at each branch and decide, you know, do I need to take it back? To try and get some negative space between some of these branches so it's not just one big dome canopy. So I'll work away at that now. There's a branch here. It comes up, it divides into two here, and then there's a center shoot going up, an older one. So these are new shoots back here so I can prune off that center section. That'll get that branch a little flatter. More taper and more movement. So you can see it's a little flatter here now. Thinning out some of the areas too. If there's too many branches growing too close together, I thin it out a bit. I have finished the pruning of my Ficus microcarpa. That last operation, thinning out the branches and selecting the branches, took about an hour. I did a lot of meticulous pruning. Before I show you the tree, I'll show you the pile of branches. So here is the amount of branches, leaves, and everything I pruned off. Quite a bit. I really went at it, sorted the structure out. So let's have a look at the tree now. Here is a look at the tree now. You can see all the branch structure. It's all sorted out and nicely flowing. I think it looks quite nice. It's really going to fill in with the next growth spurt. I'm going to rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. So here I go. So this is the front view, coming around to the right hand side. Around to the back, to the left hand side, and back to the front. I just remembered I have to spray the tree for scale insects. I found about 6 up in the branches here. So I'm going to spray with the soap and water, then rinse it down. All right, here I go with the soap and water. Spray up under the leaves, all over. All right, here I go with the rinse cycle. I'll start at the top here. Rinse the tree off. Okay. My very first bonsai, my Ficus microcarpa that I grew from a seed, is all ready to grow once again, so I'll put it back in the greenhouse. And that's all for today, this Ficus Friday. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.